Today we're making meat pies, also known as kras, and ever since I posted my little cheese pie video, you guys have been asking for the lahma version, so here you guys go. What the heck is going on downstairs? My nephew's screaming and I don't think he's gonna stop anytime soon, so I'm just gonna carry on with the video. So here I have 3 onions roughly chopped, and I'm basically squeezing my seasonings together with my onions, and then I'm going to add it to my coarse beef. And every time I say coarse beef, you guys think I'm saying horse beef. I don't eat horses, guys. Like, let's not say that again, please. Anyways, you want to add the rest of your ingredients into your meat mixture, and then you're going to set it to the side. Now we're going to start our dough. We're going to begin with the yeast mixture. You guys are already familiar with this bit. Oh my god. You're going to let your yeast mixture rest for 10 minutes and add in the rest of your ingredients, and then you're going to knead your dough for 10 minutes. Add your dough to a lightly floured surface, and you're going to create about 20 to 22 dough balls. Roll it out, add your filling, and then you're going to fold it as I'm showing here, basically making like a mini triangle. Add to a prepared baking sheet, brush with egg wash, and you're going to bake at 350 for about 20 to 25 minutes, and you're done. Today we're making the most creamy and delicious mac and cheese baked inside of homemade bread bowls, and if you want to learn how to make the bread bowls, the recipe is already up in my last video if you want to learn how to make them and be extra like me. Yep. To begin, you want to melt down 1 stick of butter, and we're going to saute about 10 minced garlic cloves for about 2 to 3 minutes. Add 2 tablespoons of flour, and you're going to cook that for about 3 minutes until it's a nice golden color. Pour in 4.5 cups of warmed heavy cream, and we're going to add in our cheeses and our seasonings as well. Now, I recommend that you start off with about a teaspoon of each seasoning, taste, and see if you'd like to add more. And when it comes to salt and black pepper, I say start off with a half a teaspoon just because everybody's preferences are different, and that's the way that you will be able to make it your own, and it tastes the way that you want it to taste. So, yeah. Now in my bread bowls, I'm layering my mac and cheese, a layer of cheese, and then another layer of mac and cheese, and then mozzarella cheese, parsley, and then I broiled it in the oven, took it out of the oven, added garnishes, and I was done.
Drool-worthy 叫花鸡, also known as beggar's chicken. See how it falls off the bone? Hiya. Now, this recipe can vary widely, but it always centers a whole chicken that's been encased in leaves, then baked in an outer shell. To make this at home, you'll need to marinate your chicken with soy sauce, wine, salt, garlic, ginger, and scallions. Place everything plus the marinade in a Ziploc bag and leave it overnight. On the next day, hydrate your leaves. It's normally made with lotus leaves, but bamboo leaves also do the trick. This is baijiu. It's about 60% alcohol. Mix it into the dough, and it'll add flavor to the chicken as it's cooking. Once the dough has been rolled out, line it with the bamboo leaves, add the oiled chicken into the center, then wrap it up. This baby will bake for about 1 hour and 20 minutes. More specific instructions and measurements will be included in the comments. Now all you have to do is crack it open to reveal.
Today, for episode 6 of the Ramadan series, we're making the perfect crispy roasted potatoes, and if you're interested in how I made the kufta and the little dipping sauce I made, it will be in my next video, so let's get right into it. You want to begin with your favorite bag of whatever baby potatoes you prefer, and you're going to wash them and cut them up just like I did here. Now we're going to boil our potatoes until they're fork tender, and then once they're fork tender, we're going to add them to a separate bowl, and we're going to start the little seasoning process. So you're going to add 1 cup of olive oil, a tablespoon of paprika, onion powder, black pepper, as much parsley as your heart desires. I'm also going to be adding minced garlic. The amount is also up to you. Also a tablespoon of oregano, a dash of cayenne, and more garlic powder if you're a garlic obsessed like I am. Now toss everything together just to make sure your potatoes are nice and coated. Add them to a prepared baking sheet topped with kosher salt, and you're going to bake at 400 degrees for 30 minutes. Take them out of the oven, toss them again, and then bake for another 30 minutes, and you're done. Today, for the 7th episode of the Ramadan series, we're making falafel. To begin, I've already washed and soaked my fresh chickpeas, and I'm going to add them to a food processor. I'm adding about 4.5 cups here, as well as 1 small onion, about 3 to 6 cloves of garlic depending on how much you want or how much you like, a handful of fresh cilantro and parsley, and you want your mixture to be as smooth as you can get it, so go ahead and keep scraping down the sides of your bowl, and you should be left with a texture similar to this. Now, along with all of our seasonings, I'm also going to be adding a tablespoon of cornstarch just to ensure that our falafel is nice and crunchy, crispy, however you'd like to say it. And I also added in 2 tablespoons of sesame seeds. I went ahead and split my mixture into about 3 sections, and I froze the other 2, and then for the one that we're going to fry today, I added a teaspoon of baking soda. Grab your little falafel tool, and you want to initially level it off, and then create a little cone shape, and then poke a little hole, fry it on low heat for about 2.5 minutes on each side, and you're done. You're left with some beautiful falafel. Today we're making kofta for the 5th episode of the Ramadan series, and we're just gonna get right into this one because I'm excited for you guys to try it. I'm starting off with about 2.5 pounds of 80-20 ground beef, and I'm only seasoning with about a tablespoon of salt and black pepper. You don't need a lot of seasonings for kofta. I feel like that's where a lot of people... You gonna say something or not? No.
Please.
No.
Please.
No!
Don't leave your room.
Oh my god. My brother decided to make an appearance, but we're going to carry on now. So I also added in a handful of freshly chopped parsley, 1 grated onion, and as much garlic as you want. I added in like 10 cloves. Shape your kofta onto your skewers, and then you're going to cook them until they're al dente, and you're done. I partnered up with Gymshark to share an iftar idea for you guys, so I hope you liked it.
Do you have any idea how easy it is to make your own homemade teriyaki sauce?
Slice up some garlic, peel ginger, a few slices of ginger, and then chop together till it looks like that.
Get a saucepan on a low heat.
Add some oil, in with your ginger garlic.
Fry for about 2 minutes. In the meantime, add equal parts sake, mirin, and soy. Oops. In with your liquid. Simmer for about 5 minutes. Cornstarch slurry, sesame seeds, and dunk-a-lunk.
Homemade chili sauce. Have you tried it? Follow me and do it. Wash the chilies. Chop up the chili. Add garlic and chop. Add the oil, tomato and spring onions. Fish out the fried residue. Add the salt. Add some soy sauce. Add noodles when water boils.
来老二，哎呦，你把那个海椒也拿出来。哎呀，不拿你吃嘛。所以土豆摘的海椒来做的那个海椒酱。
Homemade hash browns. Grate down a russet potato. An ice bath keeps them hydrated. Into the boiling ocean they go. They only need 3 minutes. I like to really draw out their moisture. We starch and season. Cracking an unborn chicken, I like to form them into a disc, then freeze until firm. After at least 30 minutes, slide them in, bubble bath them at 350. And as always, bismillah. These came out fantastic.
Alright, now let's say you have a surplus of food that you want to save easily, but you don't know how. Let me introduce you to raw packing your fruit. I have a ton of plums that I need to preserve really quickly, and so I'm going to make a really light, simple syrup. I'm going to poke holes in the plums so that way they don't burst inside the jar from the heat. And then I'm going to raw pack them in the jar. That means I'm not going to cook them on the stove. I'm going to take the hot, simple syrup and put them in the hot jars. Adjust the plums a little bit in the jars so that way you get any air bubbles out, and wipe the rims with vinegar to make sure all the gunk is off. Then top the jars off with clean rings and clean lids. These don't have to be hot if you don't want them to. They're perfectly fine going on the way they are. And you're going to completely submerge them in the water bath canner and process for 20 minutes once the water is boiling. And that's a quick way to save your fruit. If you want some canning recipes, like and follow this page for more. Today I'm going to show you how to can orange juice. Canning saves my family over $1,800 a year in groceries. Nice! And it's really fun to do. Okay, you're going to start by washing off all the produce. Juice your oranges. Separate the pulp. You're going to put all the juice in the jar. If there's any room left in the jar, go ahead and fill it up with water. That's fine for the juice. Sterilize the tops with vinegar. Make sure the lids are finger tight. And put them in the bath for about 15 minutes. And boom! You have canned orange juice that will stay good for 1 to 3 years.
Wait, hold on. I think you're onto something, like crab rangoon in the shape of an egg roll. How have I only heard of this just now? Like, I'm sure there are recipes out there, but this is arguably the best way to eat a crab rangoon. 1, the cylindrical shape won't get stuck on the sauce container, call it aerodynamic, and 2, every bite will have a good balance of the creamy, cheesy, tangy filling and that crispy layer though. If that isn't God's work, I don't know what is.
Stop throwing out your strawberry tops. You gotta make strawberry vinegar instead. Welcome back to episode 11 of Scrappy Cooking, where I take common food scraps and turn them into delicious recipes. Strawberry tops are actually completely edible, and if you add them to white vinegar for a few days, they make this magical, sweet, delicious vinegar, perfect for salads and more, which is why you should
Today we're making mini lemon cakes. They came out so cute and fluffy and so easy to make, so here's how I made them. You want to begin by adding 1 3/4 cups of AP flour, 1 1/2 teaspoons of baking powder, a 4th teaspoon of salt, mix and set aside. In a separate bowl, add 3/4 cups of vegetable oil, 7 tablespoons of melted unsalted butter, a 1/4 cup of fresh lemon juice, a teaspoon of vanilla extract, and a 1/2 teaspoon of lemon extract. Now in your mixable attachment, add 4 eggs, 1 cup of sugar, and the zest of 1 lemon. You want to beat your eggs and sugar together until it's light and fluffy. It should take about 3 minutes. Then alternately add in your dry ingredients and your wet ingredients until you have a nice batter like so. Add your cake batter to a prepared baking tin. I baked mine at 350 for about 20 minutes because I used a smaller cake tin, but if you're using a larger one, I would say about 30 to 40 minutes. Garnish your cakes however you'd like, and you're done. Today we're making an orange cake baked inside of an orange peel. It was so light and fluffy, you guys are going to love it. So to begin, you need 1 3/4 cups of AP flour, 1 1/2 teaspoons of baking powder, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, mix and set to the side. Now in a separate bowl, you want to add 3/4 cups of vegetable oil, 7 tablespoons of melted butter, a 1/4 cup of fresh orange juice, a teaspoon of vanilla extract, as well as a 1/2 tablespoon of orange blossom, mix and set to the side. Here I'm adding 1 cup of sugar, 4 eggs, and the zest of 1 orange. You want to beat your sugar and eggs together until it's light and fluffy for about 3 minutes. Then you want to alternately add in your dry ingredients and your wet ingredients, and you should be left with a batter that looks something like this. I took the guts out of my orange and filled it with my cake batter. You want to bake at 350 for about 20 to 30 minutes. You want to keep your eye on it. I added some buttercream on top. I have a recipe for it on my page as well, and then garnish however you'd like, and you're done.
Want to make Japanese milk bread? We can make it happen. 3 tablespoons of water and milk, and 2 tablespoons flour. Whisk on low heat till thickened. This is Tangjong. Bloom yeast in 95-degree milk. 2 1/2 cups bread flour. Teaspoon of salt. 1/4 cup sugar. Tangjong. Yeasty milk water, and 4 tablespoons of butter. Roll into a bowl. Give it a 40-minute nap in a greased bowl. Sheesh!
You touched the butt.
Watch out, watch out, watch out! Or equal balls. Tuck, roll, press, fold, roll, and twist into a buttered pan. 1 more nap, egg wash, then bake at 350 for 30 minutes. A little butter. The bread she told you not to worry about. Oh man, goddamn. Oh my God. That was fire.
Today we're making turtle conchas. They're basically just matcha and chocolate conchas that I shaped like turtles, but this is how I made them. I want to begin with adding 1 1/2 tablespoons of active dry yeast, a 1/2 cup of sugar, as well as a 1/2 cup of warm milk. Mix, and then you want to let your yeast mixture rest for 10 minutes. 10 minutes later, add 3 1/4 cup of AP flour, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 stick of room temperature butter unsalted, 1 egg and 1 egg white, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, 2 tablespoons of matcha, and a 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon. You want to knead your dough for 10 minutes, then add it to an oiled bowl and cover it and let it rest for 1 hour in a warm place. Here's our little chocolate topping that I mixed together. I'll have all the ingredients on the screen for you guys. I basically just rolled our topping into about 8 mini balls. Then after our hour is up, add your dough to a lightly floured surface. Separate into 9 balls, using one of them to create our little turtle heads. You want to rub shortening on each of your turtles. Flatten out your chocolate topping, then add it on top of your turtles as the little shell. I created my design with a butter knife because I didn't have the little concha stencil. But I baked them at 375 for 16 minutes, and I was done. Today we're making these jam and cream cheese filled fluffy butter rolls. They're extremely soft to the point where they literally melt in your mouth, so this is how I made them. Here I'm adding 2 1/2 teaspoons of active dry yeast, a tablespoon of sugar, 1 cup of warm milk, mix and let it rest for 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, add in 3 1/4 cups of AP flour, 1 egg, a 1/3 cup of sugar, and 1 teaspoon of salt. You want to mix together your ingredients until they're well combined. Then we're going to add in 4 tablespoons of room temperature butter, and we're going to knead our dough for 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, add your dough to an oiled bowl, cover, and let it rest for 1 hour in a warm place. While my dough was resting, I went ahead and made my filling. I'll have the ingredients on the screen for you guys, but 1 hour later, I added my dough to a lightly floured surface. Roll out your dough into a nice circle, then cut it into about 16 pieces like I'm doing here. Add your cream cheese filling, as well as any jam that you like, and you want to roll it up. Add to a prepared baking dish and let them rest for another 30 minutes. Then brush with egg wash, bake at 350 for about 25 to 30 minutes, and you're done. Today we're making mango stuffed fluffy sweetbread, and there's a dog barking outside my window. But anyways, today was supposed to be a test recipe day. They came out better than I expected, so that's why I'm posting it. But I also would have liked them to look a little bit different, and I would have added a few more things. So I'm just going to post this recipe, and then you guys will be able to see the updated version and how I like to make my food look better. There's a dog still barking. Also, I get asked a lot why my tone fluctuates so much while I'm doing my voiceovers. And it's not the way that I actually talk, it's just the way that I end my voiceovers, if that makes sense. Like, I'll end my little voiceover snippet, then I pick it up right away just to say another ingredient. So that's why my voice is high then low, high then low. It frustrates me too, but I'm not able to say another sentence or a whole sentence without messing up or sounding like I have anxiety, so that's your answer. Also, there's a whole bunch of kids yelling outside, and all of the dogs in my neighborhood decided to talk at the same time. So if you'd like to learn how to make these, I'll have everything you need on my Instagram. Yeah. Today we're making mango and cream cheese filled fluffy sweetbread, and if you remember from about a day ago, What? If you remember from about a day ago or so, yeah, that's what I was trying to say. I actually failed at making these, but this time today came out so much better. I don't think I'm speaking English right now, so I think I'm going to start this voiceover over again. Should I start it over again? I think so. I think I'm just going to keep going with it because I've tried to record this voiceover 10 times and I keep messing up. So this is probably the best it's going to get. But right now, my dough has been resting. I'm cutting it into 8 sections, into 8 dough balls. You guys already know how to do this, I believe. And then I'm going to roll it out and cut it in like how I'm doing in this clip. Yep. Adding my cream cheese filling and adding my mangoes, folding in the sides and rolling it up and adding it to a prepared baking sheet or baking dish. It's not a sheet. Oh my god. I got 350 for about 25 to 35 minutes. I finished mine off with a powdered sugar glaze and I was done. Finally. Today we're making homemade bread bowls and I've already forgot what I was saying. We're making homemade bread bowls, and in my next video I'll be showing you guys how to make the mac and cheese that I stuffed them with, so keep your eye out for that. But right now I'm mixing together my yeast mixture. What the heck? You want to let your yeast mixture rest for 10 minutes, then add in the rest of your ingredients, and you're going to knead your dough for 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, go ahead and add your dough to an oiled bowl and cover it and let it rest for 1 hour. 1 hour later, add your dough to a lightly floured surface, and you're going to separate it into 6 sections. Round them out into dough balls, and you're going to add them to a prepared baking sheet. Lightly score your dough and you want to let it rest for another 30 minutes, and then after those 30 minutes go ahead and brush it with egg wash, and we're going to bake at 350 for about 20 minutes or until they're the color that you prefer. The mac and cheese will be in my next video as I already said, but we're done. Today we're making the cinnamon honey butter from Texas Roadhouse, but 10 times better. And if you'd like to learn how I made the rolls, the recipe is already up in my last video. You want to begin with 1 stick of room temperature butter unsalted, as well as 3 tablespoons of powdered sugar sifted, 1.5 teaspoons of cinnamon, 3 tablespoons of honey, a pinch of salt, and a 4th teaspoon of vanilla. Beat your butter for about 5 minutes. This is going to help ensure that our spread stays nice and fluffy, which makes it more enjoyable to eat in my opinion. You can give it a taste and see if you'd like to add any more of whatever ingredient, but you're done.
L is for the way you look at me. O is for the only one I see. V is very, very extraordinary.
If you love to bake, you need to try this peach tarte tatin. Alright! Half empty stone 5 peaches, add 30 grams sugar and the seeds of 1 vanilla bean. 250 grams stone ground flour, 15 grams sugar, 5 grams salt. Add 250 grams butter. Flatten each piece of butter, just like that. Add 130 grams cold water and form it into a shaggy ball. Pop in the fridge for half an hour. Roll out the dough and fold into the letter. Repeat 2 more times. Then fold the dough in, fold again, and fold again. Then cut in half and cover in cling film. This is enough for 2 tarts, so just use one of them for the next time. Pop this one into the fridge for 1 hour. 75 grams sugar. Heat until melted into a caramel. 50 grams butter. Add the peaches along with the juices and cook for 5 minutes. Flip and cook for another 5 minutes. Remove from the heat. Roll out the dough. Drape over the peaches. Tuck in the edges. Give it an egg wash and pierce with a knife. Then bake for 20 minutes. Reduce the temperature and bake for another 20 minutes. 3, 2, 1. Serve with a dollop of clotted cream. Wunderbar!